Can they hear me? That's my theme music.
You're listening to I Feel Like a Bad Mom. Real talk, no judgment. And now, the star of I Feel Like a Bad Mom, Lisa Gilbert.
Woo!
Wow, I didn't know you could do that with your voice. That was amazing.
Oh, wait, sorry about that. I don't want this on there.
No, you want that on there. You don't want the other one on there.
I don't want that on there.
Yeah, overlays. Overlays. There we go.
Bam, 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 bam. That was good. Thank you, Brian. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of I'm gonna have to figure out what that's gonna look like for me and do maybe a little theme song.
Oh, I like it.
I think I think you're yeah, good. How come I can't get it on my phone?
That was a good thought.
Why isn't it coming gone? Anyways, whatever.
It's coming gone. Right now, we are waiting for the people to show up and start to ask the questions.
Yeah.
Like, why are you so handsome? You know, questions like that.
I don't think they're going to ask me that question. Maybe they're going to ask you.
They'll ask
why
me.
Have you not shaved?
That's right. Well, you are playing the role of my mom tonight, so I figured.
I mean, for this very important Facebook Live, you could have taken a razor to your face. Brian,
I got a story for you. About that. I was probably like 19, 20 years old or whatever, and I was getting some work on my tailbone done. You know, I wanted to make it look nice. No, I was having issues with my tailbone, and I went to go see the doctor for like a checkup or whatever. And my mother got mad at me because I hadn't shaved. And she's like, "You apologize to the doctor for not shaving."
That's funny. That's old right there.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't think that's the side he's worried about, but you know.
Yeah.
So I did. I went in and I was like, well, I'm sorry I didn't shave. And he's like, I don't care.
Oh, goodness gracious. All right, everybody. And what I mean by everybody is the two people watching. And you know what?
Hello, that's two people.
Yeah, two people.
You're good. You're good two people.
You are.
We don't need the others.
You are.
We don't need the others.
Whoever you are, if you could say hello, maybe we'd know who you are, but I appreciate it. If one of them is your wife, then she doesn't count. And if one of them is my husband, that doesn't count either. So there's that.
Okay.
I feel like, I don't know why I'm not seeing it on Facebook, and I'm a little bit concerned about that. However, a couple of people are watching, which means that it's on there. Right? Brian.
Should be.
Yeah, but why isn't it not coming up?
I don't know.
All right. Well, anyway.
Lisa Gilbert is live now.
Yeah. Well, Lisa Gilbert's not live on my live.
You're live.
I'm alive. All right. So, tonight.
Good talk, Lisa. Good talk. Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. We've got no people. Look at that. We have scared away the two that were here. That pretty much are just watching two people rant about nothing. That's fine. We don't care.
That's right.
We don't care.
Can't stop us.
Won't stop us.
Can't stop us.
All right. So, for those of you that are just tuning in, this is I Feel Like a Bad Mom. It's a Facebook Live that I do on Sundays at 8. Why on Sundays? I don't know. Why at 8? Well, because that's probably when everybody's done eating dinner. Maybe your kids are in bed. Maybe they're not. I don't know. Mine aren't, but they're not in here with me. So I don't care where they are or what they're doing. No, they're with Dad. And part of this for me is COVID and being home with my kids all the time. And not liking it and feeling like a bad mom because I would rather my kids be in school or on a play date or hanging out with the homeless camp. around the corner. So I decided that after watching and seeing everybody's Facebook posts that are pretty great and look what we're doing and where we're going, although I had those posts as well, I did feel like maybe people weren't really talking about how they're really feeling, and particularly moms, but also dads. And so here we are. I feel like a bad mom. Hi, Diane. Thanks for joining. I feel like a bad mom is just a place and a space where I can say today my kids were on their tablets from about 10 to about 6. It's the longest I think during this COVID that my kids have actually been on. I had lots of meetings today. I had a very, very busy day, and that's what my day looked like. So it's real talk, no judgment. This is what this is. So I've been talking to triplet moms. I've been talking to single moms. I talked to a dad. And tonight I decided that I wanted to talk to somebody who has decided not to have kids. It would have been nice to have your wife on here, but I know she's sleeping because she has to work tomorrow. So Brian Aprille is not only a good friend of mine, good comedy friend. I call him my comedy husband, with permission from my real husband. He doesn't pay any bills, so he doesn't really count as a husband.
No.
But what Brian does do when we are on the road, on shows, whether that be here in San Diego or Colorado, Arizona, wherever it is that we're traveling for comedy, he does really step up and make sure that I'm taken care of. And it's something that I really appreciate. And it's also something that my husband really appreciates. In fact, he gets us bed and breakfast so that I don't have to stay in a hotel room by myself, because I do not like hotel rooms. But if it's a bed and breakfast, then I can be in a house with other people, and I don't feel as scared. So those things may not matter to people, but for me, those things matter when traveling and having to hit the stage. So anyway, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Aprille.
Hello.
Hello.
I gotta before you ask any question, I just gotta
Okay.
come out and just say, I feel like a bad mom. I do. I've never seen my kids ever. So, they've probably been on their laptops or tablets for years. So just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah, well, we're judging you for that.
Okay, good. I hope so.
We're judging you. I'm sorry if you didn't think we were going to judge you tonight, Brian, but
no.
we are judging you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yes.
You'll be holding up a little sign like 7.
Right. So anyway, I was just kind of wondering, so I'm just going to ask you some questions and then we can just kind of chat. But how long have you known and been married to your wife, Deb?
We have been together since 2000, so 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah.
The number.
Yeah.
And married?
Yes, we've been married 11 years, 12 years. 12 years. 2008, 12 years.
Do you want to tell us how you all met?
We met, actually, it was very interesting. I was doing comedy, and I came home one Saturday night, and I was like, man, I want to do something, I want to do something cool with my life. I want to do something different. I want to, be cool. So I was like, I want to take swing dancing lessons. So at about 2 a.m, Sunday morning, I was looking around. I found swing dancing thing. So I just emailed and was like, hey, would love to take some classes next time you're doing it. Woke up, and I don't know when I woke up the next day, but it was like, okay, actually we're starting classes today. So I said, okay, I'm going to go sign up. And Deb was the only other person there besides the instructor. I walked in and she was the only other person there. And so we're like, okay, so we paired up that day, and I went back next week, and there was one married couple that had signed up. And so we're like, well, I guess we'll just stick together. And that was pretty much it. It's very interesting, depending on who you ask. When we first danced, the first time we danced, I looked into her eyes, and I swear that something like flashed into my soul. And I was just like, oh, like that was really cool. And I tell, my friends about that. And then I said, I don't know, there's something about this girl, just kind of like flashed into my soul. And then later, when I told her about that, she was like, yeah, I was just like, I don't know, I like vanilla, So like, nothing there. nothing there at all. So I was like, okay, well,
That's funny. Sounds like
yeah, yeah, whatever, it's okay. And so then, we just, talked and stayed partners for dancing. And then eventually I asked her out on an official date and off it went from there.
Nice. So 20 years together, and you all get married, you got your careers, you buy a home,
Mm-hmm.
carry on with your lives. And at what point did you decide that you were not going to have kids? When did you first talk about that?
The first date.
To have kids. The first date.
First date. Yeah, Deb was very much like, look, this is kind of a deal breaker here. So, there's no point in going any farther if you're not into this. So.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Which I think is smart.
What happened?
Well, there's no point in if because I truthfully was like, whatever. I didn't care either way. It was like, if I have kids, if I don't have kids, I didn't really care either way. So if she were like, I want kids, I'd be like, all right, yeah, sure. I'm very kind of easygoing with that. And then she's like, I don't really want kids. And I was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, I didn't want kids. Well, and it goes back a little farther than that for me. It was really interesting because I've been doing comedy, and that was my career at that time, still is. And I was dating a girl beforehand, and we were pretty serious. And I was talking to her father, and he was like, well, are you going to have kids? And I was like, I don't know, He's like, well, listen, if you're going to have kids, you need to, plan for that. And, my advice to you is take your time and chase the dreams that you want to chase now, because once you have kids, that's over. He's not saying, I'm not saying your life is over, but the chasing of those dreams, it's pretty much over. You have to, put them in front of you for everything. And it's going to be a while. And so that always kind of stuck with me as really good advice. And so, with comedy, I was in no rush. And had I stayed with that person, I would definitely have kids. I would definitely be divorced, and I would probably be an alcoholic. So it was very wise. It was very wise words that were spoken to me. So, yeah, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to push, the comedy thing. And I didn't think it would be fair to try to have kids and have a wife, or, to sit there and be like, well, you stay in with the kids while I go out at night and tell funny jokes, or what, I didn't think that would be the right thing either. And so that just kind of was my mind frame going into all of that. And then, like I said, I met Deb, and we talked about it, and I was like, yeah, I'm, sure. I don't need to have kids.
Like no, or was she on the fence?
No, she was no.
Oh, she was a no.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. She doesn't have that maternal instinct. That
she loves pets, so she
loves animals. She's got that. Yeah, she's got that instinct. It's like you give her like a dog or a cat, she'll take care of that forever. But you hand her, like, you see people like hand babies to see if that like instinct kicks in, and she's just kind of like, all right, here, you want this back? Like, well, because she's babysat for growing up and all that sort of thing, but she says she's never had that instinct or that desire to want it. And and
because I think that I talked about this. I did a podcast a couple weeks ago called "We Are Multiple," and talking to two women, one that has triplets and one that has twins. Right. And they asked me, like, when did you kind of know? And I just always knew that I was going to be a mom. There wasn't ever, like, some people are like, oh, ever since I was 7, or ever since I was a little girl, or ever since I was this, or when I hit my 20s. And I don't know that I ever really, I just always knew that I was going to be a mom at some point. I didn't really, and whether that was with a husband or whether that was on my own, because I grew up in a single parent home. So for me, there wasn't really any, like, oh, I've always wanted to be a mom. I just knew that was, definitely that's something that I really wanted. I wanted to adopt. Didn't really have a chance to do that since I, waited so late to have kids. And I'm just something I'm not going to do now.
Right.
But yeah, But I remember when Loris and I were dating, and I'm 44 years old, 43 years old, and I was already in the adoption process when I met him. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just gonna adopt. I'm too old to have kids. I don't feel like I'm a special needs mom,
Mm-hmm.
partly because my twin sister's special needs, and so I feel like that would have just been difficult for me. And it's not for everybody. I mean, obviously, if I had kids with special needs, I wouldn't have done anything
Right.
about it other than kept them and loved them. But I was just very nervous about that. And so, and being older, just there's a lot that that kind of went into it. So I remember saying to Loris, "Look, I can see that you're starting to fall in love with me, and why wouldn't you?"
Right.
So I think it's time for us to break up. Because you clearly want children, and I do too, but I don't want to have children because I think it's too far along for me. I'm trying to adopt a kid. You could just go out and have yourself, get yourself a little 30-year-old, 25-year-old, and have some kids with somebody younger. Like, who cares if you're older? Just somebody whose eggs are good and there's no real concern for anything. And he was like, no, I don't think so. This is a weird conversation. And so
This is weird for our first date.
yeah, this is great.
Look, I can see you're falling in love with me.
It's time to break up.
Can we order dinner first?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I remember him saying, let's just wait to see what God does. And I'm thinking, you're saying that. Like, you're saying, let's just wait. But people say that all the time. Like, let's just wait to see what God does. And then when he doesn't do what you want him to do, then you get all this resentment and all this other stuff. And I'm like,
right.
I'm not trying to do that. It's cool. Like, we've known each other for just a little bit of time. Let's just part ways. We're good. So he was like, no, absolutely not. So I said, fine. Then I'm going to take him to the doctor. I'm going to take him to the gyno. And she's going to tell him that it's too late for us to have kids. So we went.
Mm.
And she said, it's not too late for you to have kids. And I was like, well, give me my $20 back then. She said, it's just a matter of really when you start. And you should probably start like day one. And
right.
you have a smaller window, obviously, right? So that's kind of how, and then the rest. We got pregnant. But I have a lot of friends that really, really want kids. And
she was like, I'll just leave the room and
yeah,
you guys get started.
But I also have a good amount of friends that don't have kids that just aren't longing for them. That just doesn't happen, and I don't want them. But what did people say to you? Like, what did your family say? What did Deb's family say when you all did you conversation with them? Or did you just let time go on and then you hit a certain age and you're like, oh man, we have tried and tried. It's just
no, I think Deb's. I don't want to speak for her, but my basic understanding is she's always been like, well, I'm not having kids, and her mom's always just like, well, that'll, I think in her head was like, oh, that'll change as she gets older and the clock ticks and baby fever and all that sort of, and it just hasn't. And then, you get, when are you going to have kids? Aren't you going to have kids? You're not going to have kids? Why aren't you going to have kids? Can you have kids? Why aren't you having kids? And it's just, you got to have kids. I'm 7. Leave me alone. And it's just like, I didn't want that. I don't know if you know this about me, Lisa, but I kind of run a little bit of a contrarian vibe. So a lot of things that people like, I go, no, I don't like that. So as soon as you start forcing stuff on me, like, oh, you're going to have kids? No, I'm not having kids. I think that may have been from it. Would I have been a good dad? Sure. Yeah, I'm fun, I'm playful, I'm loving, yeah. But it's a lot of work. I go over your house and 10 minutes in, I'm like, yeah, we made the right choice. Like that's totally, the thing. And so like, and the people always say this to me, they go, oh, well, who's going to take care of you when you're older? And I think that's such an awful reason to have kids.
Yeah.
Like if you're having kids so that they'll take care of you when you're older, that's like really selfish, in my opinion. And plus, if our kids were anything like us, it wouldn't be them. I mean,
Yeah.
we moved across the country. We're like, okay, we'll see you all later.
Yeah.
Good luck. Yeah. So if we had kids that are like us, they would be gone. So I just think that's a really terrible reason for people to have kids, is to be like, well, who's going to take care of you when you're older? Well,
Yeah, I
don't know.
I've got 3. And so we have the conversation all the time. Nathan, of course, is going to live with me forever.
Right.
And Elijah hasn't really said much about it. Zoe and I have a plan. She is going to go off to college, and she is going to have a job where she travels because she loves to stay in hotels. Loves it. But we have been watching a show called Going RV.
Mm-hmm.
And Zoe and I have a plan when we're older that we are going to do some traveling without the boys in our RV.
Right.
So I am trying to be as nice as I can to them because, it'd be kind of cool if somebody maybe could bring me a meal, when I'm super old, or, it's like
right.
My mom's 84. She's pretty self-sufficient. Loris's mom is 94. And, if I can be that at 94, I'd be pretty happy. But we bring her food. I wouldn't mind that. But I'm with you in that if my kids are like, I haven't hit the teenage years yet, right? So far, I'm okay. But I'm going to hit them teenage years, and I'm probably going to have some kids that don't like me.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah. And if nobody takes care of me, then, I guess I'm going to just hire somebody to take care of me.
Right.
Somebody young and cute with a really nice butt and 6-pack abs. Just saying, if I'm going to pay for something, might as well pay for something that looks good. I'm not saying I'm paying for sex. Don't go crazy, everybody. Just making a joke.
Well, and here's the thing, too. I get this, too, because there's a lot of guilt with it. People just try to guilt you, with that sort of thing. And I don't understand, or I guess they don't understand how somebody could not want kids. And there's all that fear tied in, but they'll do things, like, well, what's going to happen to the rest of your, your family line and your dad's heritage? And it's like, my brother, doesn't have kids at the moment, and I don't, I don't want kids. And so it's like, yeah, we're the last of that name. And it's like, so you feel a little bit of guilt there, and you feel, it's like, but then I found out that, they've been lying to me about my last name all these years anyway, so it doesn't matter. So what I mean by that is, for my last name is pronounced Aprille, but it's spelled Apprille. And for years, I didn't take a stage name. I didn't do anything because I wanted to honor my dad's name, because this is how my dad spelled it, and this was, said it. And so, I got all, teased up growing up and all that sort of stuff. And then like 2 years ago, we were talking, and I was doing some comedy, and my sister was like, well, it's not how we actually spelled it originally. It was Aprille, and they changed it. And they changed it because my grandfather, there was another Dominic Aprille in the same town, and they started getting each other's mail. And so he got all stubborn and said, well, I'm going to change it and put a P and an L, an extra P and an extra L in there, so they know it's different. And then to make sure that nobody knows how to say it, I'm going to change the pronunciation to Aprille. And so I asked my dad, I was like, well, how did the term Aprille come about? How to pronounce it Aprille? And he's like, oh, it's Aprille. And I was like, you're telling, I'm 44 and you're telling me this now? Like, it was crazy. So, I did feel guilty about that whole thing of like, this is the end of the line and the name and all that sort of stuff. But I can't do that. I didn't want to burden myself with all of that time of raising somebody and putting that responsibility on just because I felt guilty. And I don't think that was the right approach either, to sit there and go, well, I got to do this for the legacy and that sort of thing. No, I don't.
Well,
just a lot of work.
I think the other thing too is that, there's so much, as because of Trenton Davis, I've been watching all the 90 Day Fiance, before the 90 Day the other way, and there's been like a lot of culture in that, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of what I find is that these men from other countries that are like 25 find themselves a 60-year-old woman on Instagram, and in their culture, they're supposed to have children.
Right.
But then they've married this woman who's cannot have children anymore. So I think that there's this, this kind of, certainly in other countries, that's part of kind of what that lineage and
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. And I think it is here too, depending on what part of our country you're from. But I feel like there's just so much for people that decide I don't want to have kids, and people are like, oh, what?
Yeah.
You don't want to have kids? I mean, I don't understand it. Like, why wouldn't you want to have kids? And it's just this, and I'm just like,
Yeah. I think society has evolved because previous generations, this is what you do is you go to school, you meet somebody, you get married, you have kids, you go to work in an office for 4 years, you retire and you die, and that was it. That was it. Women stayed home, they were homemakers. The husband went out and did the money and all that sort of stuff. And I feel like society has evolved so much now where it's like, hey, you know what? You can actually have hobbies over the age of 40. You don't just go home and read the paper like your dad did and yell at the TV or, drink or whatever it is, like there are other things that you can do now, and women can go out and have careers, and you don't have to have this pressure of like, oh, I have to go and have a baby and I have to raise a family. And I just feel like it's much more, it's definitely more socially accepted now than I think it was previously.
Yeah.
There's all this pressure.
People still ask that question though. I think when you first
absolutely.
It's like, I don't really want to have kids. And if they're in their, early to late 20s, before 30, people are like, you'll change your mind. You've got some time for that. But and I think it's definitely, I think you're right. I mean, I think that it's definitely a bit different now, certainly. But there's no book and I don't know that there's really a way to really fully understand what it is to be a parent, and what that 24/7 responsibility and fear and anxiety. And in home ec, they had us carry around an egg.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to have that egg. We had to have it for a week. We couldn't leave it by itself. We had to pretend just like it was a regular baby. So we had to get a babysitter, and we had to, do all this stuff. And so for the people that really, really did that, like, that was a lot of responsibility. And I grew up, I started babysitting at 15. I started working with kids. So I kind of knew that I always wanted to I was always cool and comfortable and loved working with kids. But you can't really, I just realized, as much as I know about kids, and from 15 to 44, I worked with kids, and my best friends got kids that I was there for every day, just all this stuff, right? But there's just nothing that's going to get you ready.
Right.
For everything that comes along with it. Everything that comes along with it. There's just no. Yeah.
Well, like I watch my sister-in-law raising, her kids, and I just they're great kids, and she's doing an amazing job with them. And I watch her, and I just go, "There's no way I could do that right now. There's no way I could do that." It's just so much. She puts so much work and so much time and so much love and so much, all of that in there. And it's just such a sacrifice of self. And it's just like, My wife and I we're kind of selfish that way. We like having our lives together. We have, she has her life, I have my life, we have our life together, and we like that. So it's like we can do things together. We can still have our individuality. We can still go on trips. We can still, do this. We can still pursue dreams. We can, and I just see, and again, my sister-in-law has done such an amazing job raising her kids, and it's amazing. It's fantastic. But it's just like, that's so much work. It's so much work. And then, what if, your child has special needs, like that's just even more, even more responsibility. And of course, it doesn't make a difference of whether you're going to love them any more or less or anything. You're going to love them the same, but it's just the amount of work that comes with that. And it's kind of, you feel like a jerk trying to say that. But I totally agree with Serena. Like, I certainly don't want that kind of that work.
Yeah, Serena says, I always get asked, even though I'm a single lady, I definitely don't want that much work. And that's the thing is, it's work. It's work that you, I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I feel like, babysitting and watching your friends' kids and being helpful and that kind of thing, like those things are great. I have a great village. I have a great team of people around me. But I also feel like, I can't just get up and go to the store.
Right. I mean, Lisa, you started the show called I Feel Like a Bad Mom.
Yeah.
Like that in and of itself should tell you how much work it is.
Yeah. Like,
like,
my goal is to raise my voice less, be a little less critical.
Yeah.
Right. Let my boys and let them figure out how to deal with each other without me having to always jump in and try to figure out the fighting. I think the other thing for me, though, coming from social work for so many years is, I don't want, and then also thinking about just how I was brought up and things from my childhood that still, kind of jack with me now, or I still kind of think about or have done things good or bad for me now. And I feel like I'm trying to do the least amount of damage as possible.
I think I totally agree, because that's something I thought of is, like, for example, I know due to certain various situations in my life, I was thrust with a little more responsibility than probably most normal teenagers. And so that kind of gave me a little bit of a glimpse of that life and, that responsibility and caring for others and that sort of thing. But it's so weird. There's so many, I had a thought and I just completely lost it, Lisa. I'm not even gonna lie. I was just trying to buy time until it came back. And it's so weird. So I just never wanted that kind of responsibility. It's just so much pressure. And this is what I wanted to say is the other thing too, is the times when I sit there and I go, oh, maybe I would like kids. I don't like the state of the world. I don't like the way I see all these notes from schools, and this is how schooling is done, and this is how society is done. And that makes me a grumpy old man yelling at the clouds, and that's fine. But, I have values and beliefs that, were brought up with me, and I just kind of go, this is how I would choose to raise somebody. And it would be very much in conflict with some of the things that they are taught and raised. And I would just have to, swallow my pride and my whatever feelings towards it and just go, okay, well, this is what they do. So I just...
Yeah, or you just keep your kids home from school that day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the hard thing about it is that, I have an opportunity to teach my kids from the beginning.
Right.
But even with that, when I've got a lot of friends that have kids that are in college I have friends that have kids that, that have grandkids my kids' age, and have done just everything that they know to do. And there's still such struggles in their kids' lives. And that's the thing is, I think about, all right, so right now, this is where Nathan is, this is where Elijah is, and this is where Zoe is, right? Not sure that Nathan's going to go to college. Not that he has to. Elijah, maybe. Zoe, she's definitely going to want to go to college, right?
Yeah.
But, and all you can do is kind of, whatever, they're 8. You know what I mean? All
Right.
you can do is go by what's happening with them now and personalities and such. But it's a constant, for me, it's just a constant worry. Like, who's going to be living at home? And,
Right.
and is somebody going to be involved in drugs? Is somebody going to have, like, all these things that certainly things that their father and I have gone through that we would prefer them not to go through.
Right.
I would be fine if my kids never used drugs. I would be fine if my kids waited until they were married. I would be fine if my kids really didn't date. I've
Right.
honestly been trying to set my kids up with my friends that have kids my kids' age to just arrange a marriage. There's no need for heartbreak, right? I'll make sure
Right.
that your parent, that your mother-in-law and your father-in-law are cool people. You all will grow to love each other, and then we'll just go from there.
Right.
So far, I haven't, and I have 2 boys that look the same. So you've got like 2 personalities with the same cute kid. I mean, who gets that? Like, that's fabulous. Nobody's taken me up on that offer, but my point is that I think if you know why you don't want it, and you can articulate those to your partner, because that's all that matters.
Right.
What you and Deb want, it's all that matters. I'm sorry
Right.
if your parents or her parents wish that they could be
Yeah.
grandparents. I would love to be a grandmother, but I want to be a grandmother to like a really healthy set of parents, so that I don't have to raise them. I don't want to do that. And if you're a grandparent raising your grandkids, I mean, seriously, like you've done it once and then you're doing it again.
Right.
Amazing. But I'm already 50. Like, I'm going to be 53 here. So I can't be like 65, 70 raising my kids' kids. I don't want to do that. So the fact that you have said, I don't want to do this, kids is not what we want. These are our reasons. Family, like it or not, but this decision that my wife and I have made in our marriage, between the 2 of us, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. And I mean, I've done things for several years. I taught performing arts at the YMCA for summer camp. So I got to be around a ton of kids of various ages, from like 4 to whatever it goes up to, was it 16, 17, whatever it is. And so I got that interaction, and I got the, the hugs and the unconditional love and like that sort of stuff. I got a feel of that. And I was like, okay, I can see that. But I also got plenty of the crying and the screaming and the bullying. And believe me, I was very glad to be done at the end of the day. Like, they were great. And then I had a lot of fun with them. And there were some kids that I really, really enjoyed, and they were so nice. And, you make you smile, make you laugh, all those sort of things. But then I was just like, so glad to be going home and away. And so I think that if I were to be involved with anything like that, I like that approach of like, hey, I can come in, I can, talk and impact and whatever, have conversations, and I can go home. That's fine by me.
Or my kids can come and swim at your pool and be like, oh, hey, Brian, how you doing? You can throw them around a little bit.
Throw them around, and then you pack them up and you take them home. And
what are some of the craziest things that people have said to you to try to convince you that you should have kids?
The craziest things? Again, you get the guilt of, well, what about, aren't you going to you're not going to give your parents grandkids? I'm like, nope, they got some already.
Yeah,
we're good. Check. The whole thing. What I like to do is, if they say, because it's weird, because people just assume you have kids, especially when you get, my age. They're like, oh, do you have any kids? And I go, oh, no kids. And they're like, they start to go, immediately something's wrong, like you weren't able to have kids. Or
right.
So I just say we weren't able to have kids, mostly through a court order, and that generally shuts them up. Because if you were to say like, oh, we're just too old. You could just be like, oh, we're too old, can't have kids. Sorry, whatever, tried. even though he didn't. You know, so I don't know if there's any other really weird things that people say though. Oh, you're just missing so much joy. They just bring you so much joy, so much joy. Like, yeah, you just joyed all over you right now, and I'm good with that. I would be awful, especially like I think I could do like once they were potty trained and like self-sufficient. Like I think I could be a good dad. Like, hey, let's go play catch. Let me help you with the homework, that sort of stuff. Like the early stuff, the changing diapers and. No, I would not do that. I would be like, oh, this is leaking. And I would just like hold it over a trash can, like I would not, I would not be a good parent.
I think once they it's funny because you get to this age, like my kids are 8 and when I see younger kids, I'm like, oh gosh, do I miss this? But not enough to be like, man, would I want to do this again? And I know many people that are, but for me, I'm like, look, I have 3.
Yeah.
I've definitely had my share of the diaper changing and the feeding and the up in the middle of the night. And,
yeah,
but I'm good. I can say, go get dressed. Now, I may have to say, go get dressed 10 times before somebody finally gets dressed.
Right.
They can do it on their own.
Right.
Right.
And see, I think from there, I would be okay.
Yeah.
Kind of self-sufficient and go make yourself some waffles. Like something like that. I could do. I'll drive you to football practice. I'll drive you to soccer practice. Or like, okay, that I can do.
Yeah.
And then it's funny. Because sometimes you do think about it. Like I was driving back from Arizona, somewhere in Arizona, and I saw there was some a Mirage on the road. And I was like, oh, it's a Mirage. And then I just had this like little sequence of like, if I had kids, I could be like, hey, look, kids, see that right there? Doesn't see how it looks wet and there's water there? Watch, there's no water. And I thought like that would be a teaching moment for my imaginary kids. And then I just also had the imaginary thought of like, will you guys shut up back there? I will turn this car around. I will, I just don't, it doesn't appeal to me. So I have moments where I'm like, oh, I could totally have, kids. And then there are times I'm like, no, not at all. No, just.
It's probably why I make sure that you spend some time with my kids from time to time, a few times a year, just in case you have those thoughts, and then you can leave my house and be like you said, like, yeah.
See, that's what you say, but we really know that the whole answer is to buy you like 7 minutes of quiet, or freedom, so that you can go in the other room and be by yourself.
You're right. You're right.
But you have great kids. You do. You have great kids. They're very loving, wonderful, wonderful kids. They're just very energetic.
Oh my gosh.
Very energetic.
I don't know, honestly. I don't think I've met a kid, and I'm not saying like in my line of work. I'm just saying as far as like kids that I know that are like my friends' kids or whatever. I don't think I know any other kids that have the energy that my kids have. And part of that is Loris and I. My kids are huggers because we are huggers.
Right.
Loris and I don't wake up quite as energetic as the rest of the family does. But definitely, we definitely wake up in this house. And if you are somebody that likes to sleep in and needs some quiet, then you will not and should not stay here. My kids are like, hey, what are we doing today? Woohoo! Yeah, all right. I'm going to watch some TV, and I'm going to watch it really loud, and then I'm going to come and talk to you every 5 minutes and tell you what I'm watching on TV.
Yeah. And I think, too, with that, we talk about reasons like not wanting kids. I just go, what if I put all this time and effort, because I would want to raise my kids a certain way, because I see so many quote unquote bad parents, or at least in my view. And I go, man, how are you allowing that to happen? How are you doing this? Or, and you hear so many people that are like, oh, complain about their kids. And they go, oh, I love my kids. They're so amazing. But every September, I see that same post. They're going back to school, all caps. Yay. Wine bottles. Yay. And I just, like that just makes you go, okay, maybe not quite as fun as they like to make it seem. But I look into the future, and I go, I don't know where this planet is going. I don't like the direction it's going. I don't want to raise kids and have to worry about that. Worry about their safety and worry about if I had a girl and like to try to teach her how to be safe and aware of sexual predators, and just even if they're boys, sexual predators, like that whole thing. There's so much bizarre stuff, and so then you throw all of that and you see the parents just so I have so many friends that are kind of, I don't want to say miserable, but I catch them in moments of misery. Because obviously parents love their children, but I can see that it's very overwhelming, and there's no real. I think that one of the problems is there's no, anybody can become a parent. There's no real training or anything like that. It's just like, here you go, here it is, take it home, and you can do all the research and work, but people don't know if they're ready for kids. People don't know if they're, and like once you have a kid, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You can't bring it back. It's not Walmart. You can't just return it and go, yeah, we're not ready for this yet. So. Yeah,
my bad.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, you can.
We're gonna trade it in for TV. Is that cool?
Yeah. Dang it, we thought we wanted a kid, but you know what? In hindsight, yeah, we wanted a car.
Yeah.
So, where can we trade this in? Yeah.
But I just never wanted to be that. I just never wanted to be that person.
Yeah. And I think, I honestly think that I commend you for sticking with what it is that you want amidst everybody and your family and friends and people saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe you guys aren't going to have kids and you need to have kids and, whatever that is. I think that for those people that always wanted to have kids and can't have kids or haven't been able to yet, it's difficult. I have a friend that tried for 10 years. And then her and her husband had a kid. And oh my gosh, is he the cutest thing ever? Oh my goodness, he's the cutest little thing ever. And I would say that even in that, right? Even me that, we waited 44 years. Lors has always wanted kids. Mm-hmm. Always wanted kids. He was his dad's only kid. And he was super spoiled by his dad. Dad was the coach for everything, and he just always wanted kids. And even in that, we still look forward to every single night. And I'm talking every single 7 days, hear me when I say every single night. It is my favorite part of the day. It is bedtime. Mm-hmm. And what I do at bedtime, and I've done it from the beginning, we weren't quiet when they were babies. Loris and I can't be quiet. We weren't quiet when they were babies. We didn't have the babies are sleeping, be quiet. No, just come in like you're going to come in. Just do what you're going to do on your regular old, however you're going to do, because my kids are going to have to learn to sleep through all of everything that's going on around them.
Right.
I rub bellies so that I can be in their face at the end of the night and tell them that I love them and they're my favorite kid. And then I go to the second one and I rub their belly and say, I love you, you're my favorite kid. And then I go to the next one and I rub their belly and I say, shh, you're my favorite kid, right? I give them each like 3 minutes.
Yep.
Turn the light off and I am out. I know that people are like, why don't you read them a story? And why don't you do this? And why don't you do that? No. No. I've spent all day with you from 7 o'clock in the morning to about 8:30 at night. Mm-hmm. I need you to go to sleep, and I need you to go to sleep quickly because I have some 90 Day Fiancé to watch. And I cannot be in here with you guys. Can't.
No.
I know lots of parents that sleep with their kids until they fall asleep. And look, every parent and every situation is different. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm saying for me personally, I knew from all my years of working with kids that bedtime was going to be a time where you go in your room, you close your eyes, I tell you I love you, and we're done until morning.
Yeah.
You got to pee? I'll leave a light on for you. You know where to pee. You need to get some water? Help yourself. Don't leave the house because the alarm will go off, but you can pee.
Right.
You can get yourself a drink of water and then get right back into bed. In fact, when they do have a tough night, they know they never come to my side of the bed. Because I'm like, did you get a drink? Because when you get a drink, it makes the bad dreams go away automatically. It's like magic. So I watch him. I watch him go right over to Dad's side.
That's funny.
Toe right to Dad's side, and Lors every time moves himself over and lets the kid get into the bed, which is great. It's great. It's
right.
It doesn't happen often, but bedtime is definitely, it's my time.
Yeah. Well, I think, like you said, every parent is different, and everyone handles it differently. So it's just.
And it is sacrifice.
Yeah.
It is sacrifice. I mean, parenting can be super selfless. It's everything that you do is, for the most part. I mean, I'm not doing comedy for my kids because that's for me. Right. There's a lot that I do in my day that's just for me. I do have to often tell Zoe when she's like, "Where are you going?" "To the store." "Can I go?" No, you cannot. "Well, why?" "Because I need to be alone."
Mm-hmm.
That's how that works. Sorry. I love you. I mean, but I'm going to love you away from the house. And at the grocery store. Yeah.
Well, I think that's good though. You're teaching them some independence, and you're obviously, you and Loris love on them so much. We've seen it time and time again. So it's not like you don't love them. It's not like you're neglecting them. It's not like you're bad parents that way or anything like that. You're taking care of them. You're making sure they're fed, they're clothed, they're safe, they have what they need, they're loved. They know love, they can give love, they can receive love. So I think again, you're teaching them, okay, need a little independence time. So it doesn't have to be, always clinging to somebody. You can be comfortable being by yourself, and you're teaching them some good social skills that way.
Yeah. I always tell new moms, find yourself, new moms and dads, parents, whatever that is, but find yourself a really good babysitter. I was fortunate. I got my best friend. I got my cousin. I'm very fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Find yourself a sitter, because you gotta figure out how to. If you're a single parent, go out with friends. Do stuff on your own. If you're married, a date night, like you. And I think the other thing too for us is, because our kids started like their first, year doing TV and stuff. So they were always held by all these different people on the set, and that kind of stuff. And I think that helped. But everybody wants to see triplets.
Right.
Kids are cute. They still are cutie pies. But when they were younger, people always wanted to come over and let's play with the triplets and see the triplets and the triplets. So there was just always somebody here. There's always somebody here besides us. And I think for my kids, I think it really helped. I never had a problem leaving them at school. They never cried. It's when they had to go to school or when we're in church and it's time for them to go into their own church. I just didn't really have a problem with that. And I think for us, part of that is that I said other people are going to help. It takes a village, and I'm using all of my villagers, and I need my kids to be comfortable with those people that we trust.
Right, because you also don't want to lose your identity as a woman and as a wife. I see a lot of people who have kids and they just become a mother and a father, and that's it. And they're like, their individuality is gone. Their connection with each other is gone. You just see the fighting, start. You just see all sorts of things, and their dreams get put on hold because now they have the kids, and it's just it's sad for me anyway to see that they put themselves in that scenario. And so I'm not judging if you are totally devoted and you give yourself that identity of I'm this mom and this is everything else is before me as far as like your family, and I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm not going to, whatever. And then there are some people who are like, no, I just need to go to the hotel for the weekend and just be by myself, or I just need to go out for the night, or we need to have a date night, or, to still keep that sense of self and individuality, as well as, like I said, you're not just a wife, but you're an individual person, a woman. And so it's like, and now you're a mom. And so you have to juggle those different hats. And one of the weird things I see is I have a lot of friends who've had kids, obviously, and your lives just kind of diverge, like once that happens, it's like, okay, now all these things are going on, and they get a whole new set of friends that can relate to what's going on. So they have the play dates and, all that sort of stuff. And so that thing that you had, with friends, you see that relationship just kind of like split and change and evolve. And it's, people are always talking about their kids, and that's how they're always talking about, well, so-and-so's doing this and so-and-so's doing that. You're like, I'm doing this, and so you just, it becomes disjointed. Those relationships become disjointed with former friends who you just see that their kids or their lives. And you go, okay, well, what about you? Do you do anything? And they're like, no. I go to work and I go home and see the kids. And that's it.
Which I think I've got a couple of friends that are like that. And just having those conversations, I think that if that's who you are,
mm-hmm.
and you're and deep inside you're cool, great.
Yeah.
But if you're not, and you wish that you could do this or wish that you could do that, it's hard for me. Part of why I retired was so that I wasn't gone from my kids all day, and then had some dinner if I was lucky, and then off to a show.
Right.
I didn't want that.
Right.
So part of me for retirement is so that I could be home with my kids after school, volunteer at their school. I'm on the PTA now, right? Just be involved as I can. And then when it comes time for me to go to a show, go to dinner with a friend, whatever it is that I may be doing in the evening, then I can say, mommy was here all day.
Right.
I don't say I left my job for you, but I just have to remind mostly Zoe, the boys are like, bye, Mom.
Right.
But Zoe wants to know where you're going, who you're going to be with, what you're going to do when you get there, what time you're going to come back. Are you going to kiss me goodnight? Am I going to be asleep? Like, Zoe's got all that. But I have to say to her quite often, look, I've been home with you all day, and we did this and this and this. And now it's time for me. I have friends that want to see me and that I want to see. And so I think if you're good with that and you're really happy with that, then absolutely. Nobody's telling you not to do that or it's wrong or anything. But if you have some longing, or you'd like to be able to do this or like to be able to do that, then try to create that for yourself. I mean, you're looking at somebody that started a comedy career in her 50s, 49, 48, right? I mean,
yep.
It's
because you don't want to have that resentment, of like, well, I never get to go anywhere, and because then that's just going to start to subconsciously affect your relationship with your family.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I don't know. I assume.
I mean, I think I feel like I have a good enough opportunity to step away when I need to step away, right? When Loris is home and I have to run an errand, or I'm like, I need a minute. Like, can I just, he's
right
about, absolutely. What do you need to do? You got to write with Brian. You don't want to come out of COVID with no jokes. Like, whatever it is that you want to do, then just let me know. But I do have to make sure that, there's this much family time, right? And then I got some me time. I'm not going to have me time and then family time for me personally, right? I want to have the bulk of my time definitely be family time. But when I need to go to Walmart to get some toothpicks for 4 hours, I'm off to Walmart. Like,
right.
I'm off to Walmart.
Right.
Like, I'm not, I'm like, gotta go. You got lots and lots to do here. So, well, we're coming up on the hour.
Yes, we are.
We are. I thank you. I thank you very much for joining. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And Brian. So Brian has a dry bar special that hopefully is going to be coming out in November.
October.
October.
It's okay.
Coming out before the end of the year.
Yes, hopefully.
Or you can watch on YouTube. You can watch it from Facebook. There's an app. I love the app on my phone. It is clean comedy, and I don't. For those of you that are like, "Oh, clean comedy," watch some. It's super funny, and then you'll know that it's just great and super funny. So Brian recorded that this year, hoping for that to come out in October. And you can also, I'm hoping it was supposed to happen this year, but it did not due to COVID, but it is coming around. But I have the honor to be part of the Uncommon
Comedy
Tour. Hopefully that's going to be coming up in 2021. Not hopefully. We'll be touring in 2021. Another great thing, Brian and I do a lot of shows together, and we've done a lot of marriage retreats. We do a lot of churches, but we do a lot of marriage retreats, and we do a lot of conferences and events where people are having like appreciation for their staff. Lots of fundraisers. It's probably our specialty is fundraisers. Which
we're actually doing in October 24th. We're doing a fundraiser to raise funds to feed the hungry and the homeless for Thanksgiving this year. It's our annual Uncommon Comedy show that we like to do in North County of San Diego. But this year it's going to be virtual, so you'll be able to tune in and help support nationwide or worldwide.
Yeah, it's a great show. I'm hoping to hit the stage soon. I'm not a huge fan of the virtual shows, but certainly when it comes to fundraisers, I'm always all about it. So you can find Brian everywhere at Comedy Brian. And if you're interested in booking him for some comedy, you also can find him at Comedy Brian, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube,
TikTok, Twitch, or you can go to comedybrian.com for all your Comedy Brian needs.
Brian also does a Uncommon Comedy podcast, and those air when?
Those come out every Tuesday, and they are on Facebook. They're on YouTube if you want to watch them. If you want to just listen to podcasts, you can get them on Apple, Spotify, Google, all those podcasts, iTunes, all the traditional places. Uncommon Comedy Podcast.
Uncommon Comedy Podcast. And soon to be a tour. I cannot wait for that.
I know.
All right, my childless friend. We will probably hit you up for some.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
One of the things that I really love to do to Lisa, to annoy her to no end, is
wow.
I have a small pet. And so what I like to do is I get on to Lisa and I go, man, Lisa, you have no idea how hard it is taking care of a small pet. They're in a cage. I got to like feed them once a day. You would have no idea. And I just watch her brain melt and she gets so angry and it's so much fun. So if you know Lisa and you want to just give her a little, jab, just say how hard your life is with, a pet or something. And that'll make us all smile.
The pet that you can leave alone.
Yes.
The pet that you don't have to have anybody. You have to pay somebody to come and watch.
Yeah, it's you wouldn't believe how tough it is.
The pet that you just put the bowl in the food in the bowl and then just
once a day I gotta clean it up and then like
day. I mean, how do you get any sleep?
It's rough. It's rough. But you wouldn't know anything about that, so I don't want to complain that much.
I mean, I appreciate you taking this time away.
The pet rock, exactly.
From your hedgehog. Bonsai, who, by the way, has an Instagram account. I'm sure that keeping up with that Instagram account along with yours is also very taxing.
Yes. Very hard.
He is a cute pie, though. I would have to say he's a cute little guy. He's a cute little guy. But yes, you do actually, frustrate me with your stories of. Stupid.
And I have succeeded today.
Serena says pets rock. You know what, Serena? We don't want to hear from you. We don't want to hear from you pet people that are like, sorry, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to make a lot of people mad, but I don't care. I don't want to see a bumper sticker on your car that says pet mom. I don't. Pet dog, mom dog, dad dog. I don't. I'm going to get you a shirt, Brian, though. I am going to get you a shirt that says hedgehog dad.
I like it.
Hedgehog college. What's a college that a hedgehog would go to?
Quill you.
Quill you. That's good. Oh my gosh, that's a bit. All right. Thank you guys all for joining tonight. I appreciate it. For those of you that that watch all or part of this later, I appreciate you as well. Please look out for Brian and his dry bar, and hopefully soon some uncommon comedy will be coming your way. If you're a church, a fundraiser, you need a fundraiser and you need to fundraise some funds, give us a call. We are eager and anxious to get back on stage when the time is right.
Yep.
Bye, friends.
Bye. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
See you later.